Hello, today we are going to discuss about reading skill. Reading skill is one of the language subskill and it is very important when we talk about the teaching learning process in a classroom. We read different types of texts and things in our day-to-day life, and every time our purpose is different. So exactly why do we read? These are the following purposes of reading. Sometimes our purpose of reading is reading just for pleasure. Sometimes we are reading to understand that particular text literally, and sometimes we are reading to analyze, interpret and apply that particular thing or piece of knowledge. So each time when we are reading these particular things, are we reading the same way? Is each reading similar to each other? Let us see this further here. Reading is categorized into different types and there are various classifications of the readings. The first classification is dependent upon the depth of the reading. So here there are two types of readings, intensive reading and extensive reading. Intensive reading means the detailed, in-depth reading of a particular piece of text to find out the specific information from that particular text. The next one, that is extensive reading, is just the overview, or we want to fetch the main idea just by having a look at that particular text, and here the purpose is for the generalization of that particular thing. The next classification is based upon what kind of meaning we are going to draw from that particular text. So here it is divided into two parts, skimming and scanning. So the skimming is quick reading, and here we want to know about a general meaning which is hidden in that particular text. Scanning is also quick reading, but here we are trying to locate a specific or a particular piece of information which is there in that particular text. When we are reading a particular text, there are various phases of reading or various steps of reading which is involved in the reading of that particular text. So the first one is pre-reading. In pre-reading, we set a purpose for reading. That means we set a particular goal. What do we want to do from that particular reading? Then we determine a plan for reading and we activate our background knowledge about that particular text. And we are trying to make predictions what is going to be there in that particular text. The next phase is during the reading. When we are actually reading that particular text, we tend to ask certain questions. We summarize side by side. We identify the main ideas in that particular text. We are trying to make the connections between the various informations provided and our previous knowledge and currently what we are reading. We are trying to make inferences. When we are reading, we are trying to visualize the information which is being provided over there. Then we try to use the fix-up strategies in between. We are trying to understand the new vocabulary which is being used in that particular text, and we are trying to create the interpretations out of this whole thing. Then the next phase which comes after reading. Once the reading has been finished, we are actually reflecting on that particular text, what we have read just now. We are revising, and parallelly the interpretations, new interpretations are being formed. We are summarizing the main ideas that we have drawn from that text as a whole. We draw conclusions and we try to seek additional information based upon this analysis and interpretation. We have discussed previously here that every reading is different. Also, every text is different. There are various types of text structures which differentiates between each type of text that we are reading in our day-to-day life. So the following are the different kinds of text structures. The first text structure is cause and effect. The example of this kind of text is, suppose since the Sahara Desert is so hot and dry, it is mostly uninhabited. So here this particular statement or this particular piece of text contains both the cause and its effect. So this text structure comes under the type cause and effects. Next text structure is sequencing or chronological. So when we provide the information in a particular piece of text in terms of its actual happening or in terms of the series of events, so it is the chronological sequence or structure of the text. For example, before beginning to walk, babies first crawl and then learn to pull themselves up to a standing position. Next text structure is compare and contrast. Here in this particular text, we are trying to place different things in a single sentence or in a single piece of text, and we are trying to compare them parallelly, how they are similar and how they are different from each other. For example, a noun is a word that represents a person, place, thing or idea, while verbs describe action. So here we are trying to compare and establish a contrast between the two things, noun and verbs, in the same sentence or the text. Next text structure is problem and solution. In this particular type of text, we are providing or presenting a particular problem, and parallel to that we are also providing the solution in that particular text. So for example, here let us see this statement: putting a cold drink on a wooden table can leave a water ring, so this is the problem, but using a coaster will prevent this. So this is the solution of this particular problem which is being provided here in this particular text only. Next type of text structure is description. So this type of text focuses on the description of the content or the object which is being talked about in that particular piece of text. For example, fences are structures that are usually made of wire or wood and are used to enclose an area. So here they have given a particular description or an elaborate description about fences in this particular sentence. So these were the different types of text structures that differentiates each kind of text from each other. And understanding a particular text structure is very important to find out the meaning of a particular text. So here, in continuation with this, context and contextual clues is very important. We need to understand the context, we need to identify the contextual clues which are being hidden there in a particular text in order to understand the true meaning or in order to find out the true meaning of a particular piece of text. So these are the following contextual clues which we should always focus upon or we should always look for while reading a piece of text. These contextual clues actually help us to understand the text even if we don't know the meaning of a particular word or a particular part from that particular text. So the first contextual clue is root word and affix. So here we use a particular root word and there are certain affixes either in the form of suffix or prefix that forms a new meaning of that particular word. So for example, people who study birds are experts in ornithology. So here, even if we are unaware of the term ornithology, but while studying this particular text in terms of its context and the contextual clues hidden in this particular text, we can easily estimate the meaning of the word ornithology. Next contextual clue is contrast. For example, unlike mammals, birds incubate their eggs outside their bodies. So here mammals species is compared to the birds species. So here a particular contrast is provided in this particular sentence. So with the help of this contrasting clue over here, we can find out the context or the meaning of the text in this particular thing. Next contextual clue is logic. For example, birds are always looking out for the predators that might harm their young ones. So here The meaning of the predators we can find out with the help of the contextual clue of logic. Next contextual clue can be the definition of the word which is provided in a particular text. For example, there is a word frugivorous and we don't know the meaning of this word. So we can find out the meaning of this particular word simply by reading the definition which is provided in the text. So here in this example, it has been defined in the upcoming sentence. Frugivorous birds prefer eating fruit to any other kind of food. Next contextual clue is example and illustration. Sometimes we use up some certain examples in a particular text and the illustrations are also provided about that. So with the help of these examples and illustrations, we can try to locate about the context in that particular text. For example, some birds like to build their nests in inconspicuous spots high up on the top of the trees, hidden by the leaves and branches. So here the word inconspicuous, even if we don't know the meaning of this word, we can locate the meaning of this particular term by looking at the example and the illustration provided in the text. Next contextual clue may be the grammar, the grammatical structure which is being followed in the sentence. The example for this is many birds migrate twice each year. So we get to know about the context of this particular sentence. So how to promote such kind of readings in our classroom? For example, we want our students to find out the context or read in terms of the contextual clues across the text. We can give up the following exercises to our student. So first one here is the example of we can give certain words which the students have to read in terms of their contextual clues and locate its exact meaning. The second kind of exercises can be the picture composition exercises. These exercises are actually related to the reading exercise. Here we can provide certain pictures to the students and we can provide certain connecting words or the action verbs with the help of which the students are supposed to create a particular story or create a particular description of a scene. So they have to narrate what they are seeing in these piece of pictures with the help of the helping words provided here. Also we can take up the help of the KWL charts when we are trying to use or promote the reading skill among the students. So KWL chart stands for know what the students already know, want to know, what the students of my class want to know further about that particular thing, and what they have actually learned from that reading. So here is an example of the use of KWL chart in a classroom. So this was all about the reading skill. Here we have tried to understand the various types of reading, the various purposes of reading and the various text structures and the contextual clues which actually help us to establish the meaning which is hidden directly or indirectly in a particular piece of text. So keeping these things in mind, do read a certain piece of text. So keep reading.